Hi, I'm Damon Hill, and welcome to the Guide to a Successful Sponsorship Proposal. Now in this tutorial, I'm going to go through with you in detail the must-have elements to every professional sponsorship proposal. I'll also show you some of the tricks and the secrets that we use every day in all the sponsorship proposals we create for our clients. Now if you've got a pen and paper handy, make some notes along the way. But remember, you've got access to this presentation 24/7. So you can always come back and reference any of the elements within the presentation at any time. I'm excited. Are you? Come on, let's get started. Every sponsorship proposal has to start somewhere, and that's the title page. Now, a picture speaks 1,000 words in a lot of cases. This is where you set the scene. Remember, this is also where you start the sale to your potential sponsor. So it's important to get a few things right so you're starting off on the right foot. I believe in the saying, first impressions count. Now, I highly recommend that you include a great image that really paints the picture of what your brand is. Some people also like to add a great quote on the title page. I don't personally. I prefer to hold that over until the second page, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Other important elements that you should have on your title page is make sure you date every document and every version there of that document, because it allows everyone to make sure that they're on the same page, and working off the same document, and saves possible confusion further down the line when you're perhaps negotiating or again trying to explain some of the details. So the simple point of just putting the date or the version number of the document on each document is really important. And you'll also notice that at the bottom of this page I've included a copyright statement. Now do yourself a favor and get a generic one off the internet and put it on there. Unfortunately, some people like to take other people's great ideas and then use them for themselves. So this is a great way to make them think twice before they do. Okay, so here's your opportunity to make a clear statement via an image or quote. And I mentioned, just on the previous page that I like to keep the quotes for this page. Yes, I call it the optional page, but it can be very powerful in creating the scene for your potential sponsor. So even though we used a strong image on the title page, in this case we saw a great opportunity to really punch home the reality of the message of what this opportunity is about. Each one of those number plates in this image represents people that lost their lives on Australian roads. Now, I don't care what company you are, a marketing manager, if that statement doesn't make you stop and think, nothing will. What we've created here is a sense of importance and community by including this slide into the presentation. This one we did not change from one proposal to the next because it's such a strong, compelling message as to why a corporate should consider being involved in this opportunity, Fatality Free Friday. So we used it to create an emotive response and a connection to that marketing manager that we have pitched, or that had received, this sponsorship proposal on their desk. Now in the opportunity overview, in this section of our proposal, we're introducing the opportunity in more detail and what it has to offer the potential sponsor, the corporate. You might think, hang on a minute, shouldn't the opportunity overview come before the opportunity bullet points? And look, there's no right or wrong answer. You can do it either way. The reason I like to show here the opportunity sort of detail in bullet points first is it allows that that marketing manager that you've approached, the opportunity to scan quickly. They're still in that scanning sort of mode, and it allows them to start to receive the first sort of chunks of value still in very quick, short form. It gives them a good snapshot and hopefully get them more focused and engaged with a level of detail about the opportunity. So take a moment to have a look at what's on this slide, and you'll notice in this case we firstly introduce the opportunity and put a call to action in there as well. Secondly, we've told them exactly what's happening. Where, the where's, the hows, and this allows them to know straight away if it's even a possibility for them to consider. Thirdly, we've given them a snapshot of the media value surrounding the event. In this case, it's very strong. And fourth, we've circled back and given them some more detail on the event. Okay, so in that final sort of paragraph of those 3 bullet points there, you'll see it just circles back around and gives them a quick reminder of here's the sort of overview of the event in short form. Never lose sight of the fact that the best sponsorship proposals take the reader on a journey. They're compiled in a way that not only makes sense in content structure, but also with the idea of continually increasing and building the interest in the offer. Pulling your potential sponsor to the next page, making them want to know more and more. So after the bullet point page, we have got the overview page that we include in our documents. Now this page is effectively just a longer form description of the opportunity. That said, any more than 3 to 4 succinct paragraphs and you'll start to lose people's interest. So remember what I said on the last slide about taking the reader on a journey with you and building and building. This is not a page where you start selling the opportunity in great detail. So trying to stay focused on moving them forward one block at a time, creating a better understanding of the asset, and the value will start to become obvious to the reader as they move through the proposal. So again, you're making them want to know more and move on to the next slide. The definition of an avatar is something visual used to represent non-visual concepts or ideas? Or is it an image that is used to represent a person in a virtual world? Sounds pretty serious, right? Don't freak out. In sponsorship, we create avatars to describe our audience, our fans, our viewers, or attendees. Now, the way to create a really good avatar is by having an understanding of the demographic and psychographic segmentation of your audience base, viewers, attendees, and basically an understanding of their, I'll call it global DNA. So let me explain. Psychographic segmentation is the dividing your market based upon consumer personalities, their traits, their values, their attitudes, their interests, and their lifestyles. Segmentation will allow you to better understand your audience. People have different interests. We all have different attitudes and traits. For example, some people really care about the environment, while other people don't. Some people are very fitness and health conscious, while others are foodies. Some people take sports very seriously, while some just want to have some fun on the weekends. Psychographic segmentation occurs when you break your audience down along these interests and attitudes, so you can identify and connect them with the sponsor's objectives. Now, demographics are characteristics about the population of people or things. It can be your hair color, the food you eat, the car you drive, or the age group into which you are classified. Demographic information is used for marketing, governmental research, survey sampling, to collect information about people's age, gender, education, income, and then make some overarching assessments based on those facts. Demographics are collected by a variety of venues. and they are most often used to understand a targeted audience or population. So for example, in television advertising, marketers use demographics to inform them of who is watching which television programs. This information is used to advertise to the largest demographic. For example, football is often watched by men. Therefore, the advertisers who know this demographic often tailor their commercials towards that specific demographic or part of the population. Above, we used what we picked demographics of audience, and then in a short, concise paragraph, we created an avatar, a description of them and their psychographic traits. So we've merged both demographic and psychographic understanding and painted a picture. We do this so the potential sponsor can quickly see that this opportunity is talking to their target audience. You need to understand your audience before even thinking about sending out your first sponsorship proposal. If your audience is not aligned to the company's potential customers or objectives, then you have a very, very slim chance of getting them across the line. Personally, I wouldn't even waste my time or theirs creating a proposal for them if I wasn't aware that this, avatar, this demographic and psychographic information of your fan base and of your customers was aligned to their objectives and their brand. So how are you going? It's a lot of information, I know, and we're only halfway there. Again, don't panic, as you'll have access to this presentation 24/7, so you can go back whenever you like and have a look at each section, take the time, pause it, slowly go through it, write stuff down, and look, I highly recommend having it on your computer screen also when you're writing your first few proposals in this sort of style, or with this with this type of structure. It can be very handy just to reference back and just give you confidence that you're structuring it again in the right way. So don't panic. You're doing a great job, and let's keep going forward. Let's move on. Now, media plays a massive part. I think in 99% of potential sponsors consideration processes when it comes to the opportunities that are out there. Yet in a lot of cases, it's not something that can be managed by you, the sponsorship seeker. So firstly here, what we like to do is break down media forms into groups. Television, print, radio, these all being the traditional forms of media. Okay, with respect to this opportunity that we're showing you here, there was a PR agency engaged, so we had some very clear and definitive outcomes with regard to what media was going to be supportive of the opportunity. Now, keeping in mind, and we'll talk about it here in a second, keep in mind we understand that in a lot of cases and a lot of opportunities, you will not have that defined outcome of mainstream media prior to going into the events or the activities that you're seeking sponsorship for. Now, you'll notice that in this case, we didn't have any historical data on mainstream media. So what we did was made sure we explained and reiterated the benefits that each of these avenues of mainstream media provides. So again, it was a bit of bolstering. We were looking to support. Hey, we've got all this great mainstream media. We can't tell you based on historical data. So let's just talk about the more generic values that mainstream media brings. Okay, so don't be scared to use that to support and again reiterate the value of what the mainstream media can bring to your opportunity if it's relevant. Now, you'll notice at the bottom paragraph, PR, and I mentioned it before, we show that there is a media and a PR strategy or management team engaged to manage all aspects and outcomes of the mainstream media with regard to this opportunity. Now, this may, again, may not be relevant to all of you, and it does not mean that, you do not need to create a media plan though. So let's take a look at the next page which talks about social media. Okay, so we all know social media is available to all of us. It's where our tribe lives, our fans, our friends, and our followers. And most importantly, it is where you are able to manage your own media platform. Now, I know of athletes who have actively invested in building relevant social media tribes of literally hundreds of thousands of people, millions in some cases. They didn't do this for their egos. They did it to ensure they can provide potential sponsors guaranteed media value outcomes where potentially, in their opportunity, they were unable to do that through mainstream media. It's really important to understand that it's not the numbers, it's not the total cumulative numbers that are valuable to a sponsor, that you have in your social media network, because they have to have an interest in what you do. Okay, numbers are worth nothing if they're not engaged with you. So don't, I'm not suggesting that you just go and buy likes here, but what I am suggesting is you consider the idea of introducing yourself through paid promotion to like-minded people that have an interest in you, or may have an interest in you, and put yourself out there in front of them. Okay, and get them to join your tribe, get them to become a fan or a follower. Okay, because again, these are all people that over time will listen to your messages, and that is what a potential sponsor wants. They want you to be a spokesperson to an audience that relates to, again, them and their potential customer base or audience that they're talking to. Okay, so by building a tribe of people that is engaged with you, allows you to take on that role of a spokesperson, create a media plan with your sponsor on how you are going to co-deliver not only your message, but also the sponsor's message to increase awareness and also hopefully uptake of whatever it is that sponsor is looking to achieve. All right. So this is a bit that I genuinely love doing when I'm creating a sponsorship proposal. This is where you're going to stand out from every other sponsorship proposal on that marketing manager's desk. But it's going to take some effort on your part. So first up, you need to research your potential sponsor's business. Get a basic understanding of things like, where are they geographically? What is it that they do? And by that I mean understand genuinely what they do. Going in with a kind of a light understanding and thinking that it might be relevant is not good enough. So get on their website, do your research. Google's out there, it tells you everything in the world, and understand what it is they do. And then take a look at who some of their current customers are. So you can relate to, okay, this is what they're telling me, even if you don't understand the skills or what it is entirely what they're doing. You'll be able to see how it perhaps correlates with people by looking at who their potential customers are. And again, that will give you a reference point as to the sort of ponds that they're fishing in to look for new business or new customers, and see are they some of the same people, or are those people in your network, or are they within your opportunities network? And then you need to understand what their objectives are. These objectives, they're only going to invest in you if they see you as a vessel to move forward and help them reach their objectives. Okay, so I guess these 4 points that I've just mentioned, you must have an understanding, at bare minimum, of these 4 things that I've just mentioned to you, to be able to create a truly beneficial, targeted proposal to this corporate. Never, ever, ever send a generic proposal out to potential sponsors. You are absolutely wasting your time and theirs. Now, a targeted sponsorship proposal is a proposal that talks about, and this is what we're doing in this section, ideas and ways thoughts that your opportunity might directly be able to benefit them and align with their company's objectives. Okay, that's called targeting. So hence a targeted proposal. Remember back to the avatar section when I said to you that you must understand your audience? Well, this is why. Your audience must have a pretty good level of alignment, or parts of your audience anyway, with the audience that the potential sponsor is looking to communicate with. So, take a look back at the, again, your avatar information, and now the information that you've sort of garnished and learned about this potential sponsor, and see, the strength or the correlation between those two. Is there opportunities here? And if so, how are we going to exploit those opportunities? So in the previous 2 pages, and also on this one, we've provided the potential sponsor with ideas on how, if they got behind and actually sponsored this opportunity, they could benefit through activation. Sponsorship activation is, as it suggests, it's the point where the sponsor takes the opportunities that are included within this sponsorship and uses it and leverages them to move forward closer to achieving their objectives, whether that's marketing objectives or any other objectives within their business. Now, after we've finished here today with this presentation, please make sure that you come back to this section, have a really good look through each of the bullets in these slides, okay? I think you'll find it interesting the way we used our ideas to create a compelling picture for all the great opportunities and activation opportunities available to them if they chose to become a sponsor with us. Okay. Now, 99% of amateur sponsorship proposals will not include this section, this targeted, section of benefits, if you like, around the sponsorship. Let me assure you one thing: 100% of professional sponsorship proposals will include this section. So if you are competing with if your presentation is in with a corporate and there are other professional sponsorship proposals in there, then you are not even going to have a look in if you do not include this section of targeting into your sponsorship presentation. So it is, where I had a negotiable page on page 2, this section is never, ever negotiable, okay? If you go in half-baked, you will not get a sponsor, okay? Don't waste your time, as I said earlier, and don't waste theirs. So let's get serious, do our homework about what it is that the sponsor needs, what they're looking for, how that relates to what you can offer, and let's connect the dots for them. Okay, so you need to make a list of all the benefits that your potential sponsor is going to get should they choose to, engage into a partnership or sponsorship with you. Now, it's fine to add all the generic inventory items like logos on things, tickets to things, even a designation of something. But if you're serious, you better get a bit more creative than that. Have a think about what you've learned in the previous section about the sponsor's objectives. Now, take those objectives and think of ways that you can help them facilitate and achieve those objectives using things like your intellectual property that you have. Again, it's connecting the dots for them. You're going to need to think outside of the box a bit here. You need to put yourself in their shoes and think, if I had this opportunity and I had their objectives, what could I achieve? How would I do it to get the best result? So it's really important that you have a clear understanding of your own brand and really nail this part of the proposal and fill it with real value, not just the same old stuff that every other amateur will put in their sponsorship proposal. Make sure that you are different in every way and show that you have put thought into why you've approached them. Now you've built a great sponsorship proposal and added value in every section on every page to your potential sponsor. It's time to tell them how much it's going to cost them to receive this great value. Okay, so first and foremost, when asking for sponsorship, you need to make sure that you are asking for an amount that is relevant to the perceived value of what you are offering them. That's right. You might be selling exactly the same asset to 2 or more different companies at any given time, and the asking amounts will be different for each. Just because you want a certain number doesn't mean that you get it, and vice versa. What you will find is that doing a targeted sponsorship proposal, as we've run through earlier in this presentation, will more often than not allow you to ask for a greater amount than you thought was initially possible. Smart companies sponsor on the return value proposition, not on the cheapest thing they see in the marketplace. If you're talking to a company and all they care about is not spending more than a certain amount, you can be sure they are not very sponsorship savvy, and they are thinking the same way they purchase media. Just give me the cheapest impressions you can. More impressions, less dollar. Sure, take their money, give them stickers on things, but don't think that that constitutes a great sponsorship, because it doesn't. I really hope you've enjoyed this presentation today and how to upskill yourself in the art of creating a professional sponsorship proposal. When you create your first one, I assure you that you'll feel like a champion. You will know with confidence that now you're in the top 1% of sponsorship seekers and you're ready to deliver your sponsor a great partnership. If you've got any questions, please send me an email. I will happily see what solutions and ideas I can provide you. Thank you and congratulations on becoming a best practice sponsorship seeker. So until next time, happy sponsorship hunting, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.